We're without Red today. Red always has to make a long drive, and I always start the podcast feeling just a tinge of guilt because he has to drive so far.
I mean, he has to drive so far already. What's a few states, dude?
I know. Yeah. What a jerk.
Yeah.
Selfish.
Come on.
And who do we think we are that we just kind of show up once in a while? We've got to increase our frequency, Beige. Do you feel any shame about that, or?
No, I mean, we're busy, and plus I think you need to detox from me from time to time, right?
Yeah.
You just need to, you got your fill of beige for a little bit, and you're like, man, I just need to detox.
You brutalize people with the vocals for a little while, and then you say, yeah, but here's a reward. You won't have to listen to me for another month.
Right. And then you go into withdrawals, and you're like, I need me some beige.
Oh, yeah. It's almost like, it sounds like a sick kind of relationship that you have started with the audience where it's almost codependent, like, oh, you're not going to get any of me for a month, and then they're going to start to miss you. Almost, what's that phenomena where you're taken hostage and then you fall in love with your...
Stockholm, dude.
Yeah, you've got Stockholm with all the audience, dude. They're probably in love with you, and you've abused them without your vocals.
Probably, man. I'm thinking you're right, dude.
Heroes of
humility, 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 humility. This is not a charade. This is real. These words you are about to hear are coming from real humans on a mission to save the human race from itself. Buckle up while these delusional heroes of humility, aka hoes, attempt to right the wrongs in everyday human behavior. Thank you for being with us again and for paying attention to us. Is that maybe the right way to thank people? I don't know if I would say they are patrons or heroes of humanitarians. I thought maybe we could come up with some nickname for our
I mean,
two
that's
listeners.
assuming they're actually listening and when they listen, like attentively listening and not just like background noise.
Yeah, it's like in the background as they're doing their laundry or
right.
getting
When
a
they
massage
fall
or something.
asleep, which is weird. Just to go off on a tangent here, have you ever fallen asleep while you're watching a war movie or like listening to a podcast, and then you have dreams that are about what they're talking about on the podcast or what they're the war movie?
I have listened to music, but I don't understand people who can just like a narcoleptic nut job fall asleep while a movie's playing.
Oh, dude,
To
I
me,
fall
that's
asleep
really
in a
odd.
movie theater, bro.
It has to be a bad movie. I never want to see a movie that I can fall asleep to, though.
I fell asleep in Avatar. I just went and
Oh,
saw
the
the
new
new
one?
Avatar. Dude, that's like 3.5 hours.
I don't know if I can. Would you recommend people see it?
I mean, from what I saw, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you won't. From what you saw,
Dude, I fell asleep for like an hour in that movie, bro.
the most expensive experience with IMAX and all that, or did you feel bad
dude,
falling asleep?
I mean, that's the, you go full luxury, dude, when you go to the
Right.
theater. The reclining seats.
Especially when you go see a movie like that.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I've heard the movie-going experience might be dwindling down to less investment in resources because they don't think people will be going to theaters as much.
Well, what's crazy is like a movie will come out, and then honestly, dude, within like 2 or 3 weeks, it'll be out on streaming.
Yeah. It used to be like maybe a year or something, it would seem
Yeah,
like. it would
exactly. So with that being the case, it's, you think to yourself, is it even worth going to see this movie
Right.
when I could just wait 2 weeks and be able to watch it in the comfort of my home?
Yeah, you could be at home sitting in your tidy whities just eating popcorn off of your legs.
And your
if you drop
underoos,
them.
and if you drop a popcorn in your belly button, you just fish that out.
It's not
right
a
at
big
home.
deal. But if you dropped it on the seat cushion at the theater, I would just wouldn't even want to touch it.
Right.
You know?
And then if you go to the theater, you have to go through the whole process of smuggling in candy.
Yeah. And then you have to go through the cognitive dissonance of thinking, well, you're a good person, but I just committed a crime.
Exactly. And then they're like, sir, would you like any snow caps? And you're like, not at $6, ma'am.
Yeah. And then they're like, sir, would you please put some pants on? You're like, well, I watch movies at home in my tidy whities. I want to help the theater stay in business. Let me do my thing.
Yeah, don't tread on me.
Yeah,
Okay?
there you go. Wow, this got Metallica very all of a sudden.
And then you walk into the theater and say you have a box of hot tamales, right?
I'm with you.
And you have to walk very slowly, or else they'll hear the jostling of the hot tamales as you walk by.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful how you walk, or else you'll give away that you're just loaded down.
Yeah,
with
they make
candy.
lots of noise in that box, huh? They never touched my mouth, but I do. I know of them. Like I never desecrated my
Right.
body with those.
Like you'll bring the snacks that are like maybe some chia seeds or something, perhaps,
Yeah.
right?
Even before I was concerned with oxalates, I might bring some mixed nuts, But now I would need to only bring macadamia nuts because they're lower in oxalate. We could do a whole podcast on that, I guess. I had a random thought, and this is a little bit prude and simpleton, and I apologize, but if I put it in my phone, I feel like now I have to do my duty to express my thoughts, because to me, this show is about being real. And one of my real thoughts was,
Oh, I've had it all wrong, dude, up to this point.
you
Dang.
just fake your thoughts.
Yeah, I've been fake this whole time.
Well, starting now, we're going to see a new beige.
Okay,
that's gonna
starting
be
now.
real. No more poser beige.
Right. From this point forward.
I know that's
Please.
not true, because the guy's taken back the curtain into the deepest recesses of his trials and tribulations, and we're still watching him get better on his recovery. But I had this thought that I'm embarrassed to say, I'm going to say it anyway, and it makes me look like a fool, is when you say the word butthole, everything's funny. That's not a word that makes people feel anger or think, oh no, who is he referring to? Oh, if you're driving in traffic and somebody cuts you off, you don't roll down the window and say, you butthole. It's funny. It's almost like it makes you feel like everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, like you could call your friend a butthole and you're not going to have
Yeah.
a falling out if you call your friend a butthole.
But
right?
the antithesis of that, but yet the same exact word and meaning is asshole. And when you hear that, you're like, oh,
this
no.
is an R-rated episode, just FYI.
Yeah,
we
I
just dropped the
apologize.
A word.
Well, I'll only say it once, but see, there you go. Like butthole isn't a bad word even. I mean, I don't feel like it is. I promise you we won't spend the whole podcast talking about this, but it just occurred to me, and I made a note of it, is like you could say butthole and everything turns to a funny exchange, but then when you can't use the other word that way. So I thought that was is that a good observation?
I think
Is that
so. I
helpful?
mean, I was saying like back in the day.
Gosh, this whole thing's going to have to be cut.
Oh, so should
No,
I
go
just
ahead.
stop talking?
No, go ahead.
So back in the day, there was a band called Butthole Surfers, and it was like a punk band, I think. But it was like a funny name for a band. But, if it was called Asshole Surfers,
Yeah.
then it would be like,
It's
man,
not even
this
funny
guy-
anymore.
It's not funny. Like,
What are
these
you guys
are
thinking?
assholes,
Yeah.
And
then they would call, and that's just our name. You guys are assholes. No, that's the name of our band.
Right. Like, if you drop asshole to anybody, that's like fighting words, dude.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
oh, what did you call me?
Right. Even if somebody cuts in front of me at the gas station at Costco and I say, you butthole, he's probably going to be like, oh, this guy really doesn't want to fight me. Yeah. he
Yeah,
might
he's just,
laugh.
oh, you're funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I say the other way, geez, there's a little bit of shame that occurred in my mind. When to use butthole and when to use asshole.
I mean, I think just if you drop a profanity, it kind of ups it,
Yeah.
But there are those people that they drop way too many profanities, and then it's like, it kind of loses its meaning.
Yeah.
But if somebody never drops it and then they drop it, then it's a big deal, basically.
Should we talk about resolutions? Should we talk about our holidays, how we're doing it? No, I'm out of the gate just talking about butthole versus the word asshole.
I think that's a kind of holiday themed, I mean, we've been around some buttholes probably around the holidays.
Yeah,
maybe.
you've probably seen some butthole behavior. Also, this was another thought. So there weren't a lot of people in the office where I work. It's on the 5th floor. I'm probably saying too much. And when you get in the elevator, you don't want anything to be aberrant outside of completely convention. Convention would be the person looks forward, the person pushes the button to the right floor, they get off on the right floor, they don't maybe engage you in too much conversation unless you make eye contact. But one thing that occurred to me that was a little aberrant is I also don't want to have any smells that are too obvious when I get in an elevator.
Even good smells, like even like a
Like,
cologne that you like.
Yeah, like anything. I'm not big on colognes anyway. It's perfume if it's a girl, right? And it's cologne if it's a guy?
Yeah, well,
Is that the rule,
Eau
or-
de parfum.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew you would raise it to another.
Yeah, that's the French verbiage, I think, actually. But
I hope people don't fact check us too much because we might lose credibility. But I think that when you get into an elevator, you just don't want to smell anything. And I don't want a waft of anything. And if there's somebody not even in there, I still don't want to smell anything because then I'm like, well, even if it's a perfume or cologne, this person still left something.
okay,
Like,
where's the positioning in the elevator, dude? Say that you get in an elevator and there's one person in there.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you position yourself? I position myself the adjacent corner, so basically as far away from that person as possible.
Yeah, you live.
Like if you get in there and you're like right behind them, kind
Yeah.
of breathing on their neck,
yeah,
that's kind
the
of
small,
weird.
the breath on the small of their back.
Exactly.
You are what we call a civil human being. You
Yeah.
think of these things and you behave in a civil manner.
Socially couth.
You don't go into the middle of the elevator and stand in the isosceles stance or get in a 3-point stance like you're coming off the scrimmage line in a football game, in the fourth quarter. You make room. And I also wonder about these folks that get off the elevator or just come onto the elevator and they don't do a quick look. Because you could be
head
just,
down or head in a phone.
Yeah, you just go onto the elevator and somebody's coming off.
Oh, and then you have potential contact there
Yeah.
from the person coming off
Yeah.
and coming on.
Yeah, there's
potential collision.
But you usually just say, "Oh, excuse me." Or,
Well, the right of way goes to the person coming off the elevator.
that makes sense.
They get the right of way. It's like when you drive, right?
Yeah.
Somebody has the right of way there, and that should always be the person coming off the elevator.
Yes, and they've been in there. They've had to. It's kind of like they've been in jail for a little while. They should get to come out first.
Yeah, they're getting their first taste of freedom in like a
Yeah.
few seconds.
Their constitutional liberties have been restored because they had to suffer with who everybody else is in there. And if you've been in a really busy location where there's a lot of people in the elevator, you also need to know the right cadence so that you push or you get to the right place so that you're not fumbling through a lot of people to get out when you reach your floor.
Yeah. You want to kind of, if you go to, for instance, like I would go to the baseball games here from time to time, those elevators get packed at those stadiums and stuff, right? So if you're getting to your floor, you want to kind of migrate towards the front of the elevator before that floor comes up. So you're not trying to get off the elevator all the way from the back. And, you have to say, oh, excuse me, and get through.
Makes sense.
Also, I think knowing what not to do on the elevator leaves the option open to do something aberrant as a joke.
This is part of the show because I see so many things that seem odd to me. And I'm aware, and I wonder if people are aware of those things. And we, as a group, when we would go to lunch, seem to be sensitized to these and able to identify them. I wonder if, or at least it's something that occurs to us, whereas other people, they're just oblivious.
Well, like the other day, I violated the rules of etiquette on the elevator.
Okay.
So I was getting on the elevator. This was not a heavily trafficked elevator, okay? And so I just assumed nobody would be coming off. And then somebody came off the elevator at that time as I was getting on, and
Nice.
I stepped back
Right.
and I said, oh, sorry. And there was no acknowledgement of the sorry.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like,
That's
that's
aggressive.
kind of aberrant
that's a
behavior
little
in
bit
and of itself,
Yeah. Now, do you think it was a language barrier or?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
definitely not.
Okay.
It was just maybe he didn't hear me.
Mm.
Maybe I could have followed up and, sir, did you hear what I said?
I'm talking to you, sir.
Sir, I said sorry. That usually requires a, hey, it's okay, no problem. That's how I would
Yeah.
handle that situation. Don't worry about it. It's cool. No worries.
Right. And you
But-
almost want to pull like a,
Like you pull the sorry back at that
yeah,
point.
I wish I hadn't even said it.
Right.
You almost feel, you almost want to say, you're not welcome or something.
Do you verbalize that and say, you know what? I gave you a sorry. There was no acknowledgement. I'm now taking that sorry back,
And
sir.
sir, before you leave the elevator, I just want you to know I didn't even mean it. Like if you
Right.
you almost want to try to undo it, like go to Back to the Future.
That was not a
scenario.
heartfelt sorry. That was just a social norm that I was exhibiting right there. You, on the other hand, chose to exhibit very aberrant behavior,
like
sir.
a nut job. Don't acknowledge the sorry. I wish I could get in my DeLorean and go back a few seconds just so that I could take my sorry.
Or maybe I just bowl my way
Yeah.
in there, even when you're coming out, and then we'd have to see who's stronger.
Yeah.
Do you
let's
force me
wrestle.
back, or do I force you back into the elevator? Who's got the stronger quads?
Maybe a nice elbow to the cranium, or a flying.
It's like back in the day when you would do the football drills.
Oh,
you
yeah.
go up against
Yeah,
each other,
who's
right?
gonna-
And you try
right.
to push each other
And
back.
you have the advantage
And who's
because you
gonna
have
win
more
that?
space to get momentum.
Like a running
you could get
start, yeah.
You just go running into the elevator next time. If I had my DeLorean, I'd go back just running full blast.
Yeah. Like they're not even
Yeah,
ready
maybe
for it.
even pad up, get a helmet,
Right.
spear 'em.
They're not ready for it, and bam, before they even know it.
What a jerk, dude. He couldn't acknowledge your sorry. That's like when you're going into traffic. I know we touched on this, but you wave somebody in and they don't give you anything.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like,
of
come
course. It's like,
on.
yeah, well, here I come. I'm just coming. Or that you hold the door open for somebody and there's no thank you.
When you throw yourself out there to break the silence, that's why, too, I wonder if there's a lot of people that don't feel comfortable talking to strangers because they're afraid of rejection.
Right.
And if we're
A
all,
lot of stranger danger
Yeah.
going on.
and
yeah.
if we're all afraid of rejection, then how do we communicate? It's like the gym, or you just point to things. And
Right.
so that's too bad.
But let's play this out in our mind. So if I hold the door open and you say, hey, thank you, what would my response be? What are you afraid of? Like, I'm going to say, thank you. Give me a break, jerk. Like what I would say, oh, yeah, you're welcome. Have a good day. That's generally how that goes. And when I hold the door open, I usually make eye contact.
Oh,
So that I'm like,
yeah.
yep, here comes the thank you.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of required. You put that extra pressure on them.
I wonder if people think, who's this guy looking at me and making eye contact? Maybe they are defensive because they're
And licking his lips.
and you bring this. So this is what I was going to say, because I feel like I understand rules of behavior that are appropriate. I sometimes think of things that I would like to do that are inappropriate to be funny, but that's a trigger I don't often pull because
Like what you did with the nurse at the hospital, for
if
instance.
you take a chance, she may not laugh.
That didn't work out too
And-
well, but it made me laugh.
Yeah, well, see, then somebody benefited, and that's okay. At least not everybody's a victim,
Right.
Just her, because she's telling people stories about how this guy just started joking with her when his friend is dying, in the hospital.
Yeah.
And I kid because you didn't. But when I was in the elevator, I think, okay, here's something I'll do because this guy's standing the wrong way. Like he's almost like pointed look at me, and there's only two of us in the elevator. So then I think, what I'll do is I'll just raise the ante. I'll just start doing calisthenics.
Oh.
Maybe I'll try and do some stretches. Maybe I'll do some squats, maybe power lunges.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see who can get crazier.
Or sing "Love in an Elevator."
I've done that before. I don't know if you.
Yeah.
I think maybe I was in the elevator with you and I started humming that, and I was wondering if anybody would, because there was some people, like it was you and some other people, and then I started humming that, and I was wondering if anybody.
Oh, I picked that up.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's something
Yeah.
you'd pick up. But yeah, little things that occur that, okay, well, if you're not going to say sorry, then let's really get crazy.
Right. Like at that point, when the elevator stopped, I'd probably run out, like holding like my junk, like I had to pee really bad,
Yeah.
and like run out in front just to see their reaction. Like, man, that was weird.
Yeah,
This guy
give
just
them
did
a story, or
Give him a story.
I like the one. I don't know if this is an old something I saw when I was a kid, but like taking your time, untying your shoe, taking your shoe off, holding it up to your ear, and being like, "Hello."
Yeah. Like I'm in, and then they'll be like, I was in an elevator with a crazy
Yeah,
person
he was
today.
using his shoe as a phone, saying hello. Dumb, but
No, I back to your original point. I think it's good to not leave a trace. You know what I mean?
Traceless elevator.
To be a
smell.
traceless, yeah. Like you go in there and doesn't smell good or bad. I mean, bad is obviously the worst, right? If there's little BO coming from somebody, you don't want that for sure.
I kind of pride myself on being a ninja in a couple places. One is I don't want to leave any sign that I was there. And I feel like perfume, cologne, any kind of musky smell, let's hope that your hygiene is up to par. Don't leave any smell.
Yeah.
Like
you don't leave a lot of your pheromones behind.
Yeah, I keep those for sacred. Those are only for sacred situations.
For beauty.
Yeah,
pretty
for
much.
beauty. And nobody should be taking in my whatever I left. I mean, you're basically, that's DNA. I don't know. Probably some science could tell us that that's part of you. So I say, no, I don't want to smell any of that. But yeah, I just, in restrooms too, I don't leave any sign. Like even if maybe you would see like a one droplet of water, but I don't like leaving messes.
But now the next person, we're just assuming that's water. Maybe it's not,
Yeah,
it's a bathroom after
that
all.
would be horrible.
And they're like, this guy just, he's just all over the place.
Yeah, he doesn't even care. He wasn't taught any civility. He doesn't think that this is weird to let's leave this. Yeah, I kind of thought too we could discuss something that is maybe in connection to this, and it's like nervous energy that you get from people. And 9 times out of 10 when I see that, I will try to dissuade it or maybe help somebody so they don't feel nervous, because I just don't like to be around that. And it's not like a bad thing, but it's not a good thing. So for instance, if some people feel like they're very uncomfortable if they're in a situation where they have to be alone with you. And so if it has to be that we are going to be in this situation for a while, let's say the elevator gets locked, this is maybe an example, and you're going to be there, then you're going to have to say something, right? And so I would usually be the first one to try to break that.
Break the ice.
So to break the ice. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. That's a severe example, but I've never been in the situation where the elevator froze. But
I mean, I've been in an elevator and I just hit the emergency stop.
Just to see.
Just to kind of make a friend, basically.
Make a friend. I need a friend. That's rough, dude.
No, you're right. I think that's empathetic of you. Like you're in touch with other people's emotions. I think there's a lot of people that walk around that like they have no clue how other people are feeling, or they just don't care, I guess,
That's a weird thing to me.
But I mean, you're aware of that, and I think that's a good thing. So like I said, I think I've mentioned this before. Like when you see somebody like they're the center of attention, and whether that's like a speech or like if you go to a comedy show or something and the guy's just bombing or the speech is going terribly, then that gets really uncomfortable for the observer.
Was it really uncomfortable for you when the nurse didn't laugh at my joke? Did you feel like, this is
I was pretty heavily medicated at the time.
But, this is a funny thing is that I think some of this situation where people are uncomfortable comes from them mistakenly thinking that too much of the world revolves around them, and what they don't do or don't do correctly is somehow going to cause, the stars to misalign and then people to react or care about you that much. Yes, I think my parents always told me I was special. So I think I'm special, but I hope I don't think that the world revolves around me so much so that if I don't do exactly the right thing, it'll unravel the fabric.
I mean, we're all special, right?
Yeah, everybody's special.
Everybody's individual, unique, special in their own way.
Yeah, I believe that.
Right.
And so I just don't think, though, that it helps when people are so wrapped around the axle on how the world is acting based on what they do. I think that can cause some issues because then people get more nervous all the time.
But I think a lot of times, like for me, for instance, I think I went through that as maybe a teenager or like a younger kid, You really get in your mind and you really start getting socially, like I had a lot of social anxiety when I was a kid, right? So like I would overthink things, like in my mind, if I do this, then that, then they're going to react this way. And you would be scared of maybe the reaction people would have to you. And because of that, you kind of shut your behavior down a little bit,
Okay.
Yeah. And, but I think
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I think a lot of times maybe kids deal with that more because their brain's still maturing. They're kind of becoming more comfortable with who they are individually as a person. Because when we're younger kids, we really don't know who we are sometimes as a person yet, So I think that creates a lot of that anxiety. And then, as an adult, you finally get to be confident. The more confidence you have in yourself, the less that stuff bothers you. And then you just get to the point where like, look, if this person doesn't react in a way that I like, then it's just like, whatever, the world's not going to end. It's fine,
I almost wonder too, some kids that seem oblivious, especially when they're with their other friends. I was at a mall recently, and by the way, malls,
like the little broccoli head kids that hang out together.
Well, and that's a similar hairstyle, right?
Yeah, they all have all teenage boys have the same hair.
Yeah, it's very popular to have that hairstyle. But the malls it almost looks like an 80s or 90s mall now because there's so many kids. And I find myself having the oldest man thought, thinking, that kid didn't come here to buy anything.
Yeah, those whippersnappers, those ruffians, they're up to no good.
They're not buying anything here. They're just all, I've noticed when they're with their buddies, the behavior gets a little weirder, and not in a good way. That I remember being weird with my buddies because I hear like an occasional F-bomb or something. And I'm thinking, and that's a peeve of mine because
like a loud F-bomb so everybody around them can hear it.
It's just weird because it's a kind of a weird flex maybe because
like it's like, look how cool I am. I just dropped the F-bomb. Yeah. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? I mean,
old man.
And there's kids walking around. There's, maybe I'd be embarrassed to say that when I was a kid. I would never have said like certain words that I hear people saying, and I'm like, that's weird, man. That's so I don't know.
A lot of times people say that to emphasize something, right? Like I'm gonna emphasize what I have. So I'm going to drop the F-bomb. And that goes back to what I said before. If you're dropping the F-bomb every other word, then it's like, this guy, that's just, it's really not important what he's saying.
Right. And it's probably contradicts in a Hippocratic way what I talked about earlier with two words, the butthole versus the a-hole word.
Yeah.
But it's like if you have to use those terms a lot, if the frequency is that high in your language, then maybe you are lacking some creativity.
You might want to develop your vernacular.
Yeah, there might be some other ways to express. Like I can exchange emphasis with people about a topic without having to use a word.
Yeah, like you gluteus maximus orifice.
Yeah. This could be something more scientific.
Right.
But I don't know. That's just a little thing I noticed when I was in close proximity to people again, this time at the mall. Yeah, the mall was interesting. I went there a couple times during the holiday.
Dude, I miss the malls because, back when we were growing up in the 80s, like the mall was the place.
Yeah.
So you looked forward to, on the weekends, almost every other weekend, you'd go to the mall.
Yeah.
To shop or hang out or go to the Orange Julius.
Oh, I love the Orange Julius. And I think it was okay for them to put eggs in those and just drink them. I think that's how they did it.
Right.
I don't know what they...
Or the hot dog on a stick, dude. You top it off with at least I did. You were probably healthy back then. Say that.
I didn't even eat hot dogs back then. I knew they were...
Yeah.
But I did.
You have a hot dog on a stick. You wash it down with an Orange Julius, and maybe you go by that cookie place.
Yeah. Oh, those smelled so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those. I used to look at all the people as they would eat those and think, wow.
Wow, you're just knocking years off
They
your
just
life,
don't care
bud.
about their bodies. Stupid idiots. But it smelled so good. I wasn't even afraid of smelling it because I thought, well, that's probably not good for me. I'm just breathing in the molecules.
It's like secondhand smoke, almost.
Secondhand sugar.
Yeah, you're breathing in the sugar molecules.
Yeah, not good for you. But yeah, the mall was mad. And I remember one of my earliest memories of the mall was going by like one of those record stores. It was like a Spencer's, but it was, I don't know if
like
they
a
had
Sam
those.
Goody.
Yeah. Because I remember they had a Darth Vader helmet in there. And I saw that and I was like, whoa, is that real? Like I saw that in a movie. It's sitting right there.
Mm-hmm.
But the mall was cool. I'd go there with my parents and my dad would always let me look at whatever I'd want to go look at. And, under the understanding I wasn't going to get it, but I just wanted to look.
Well, and that's what's sad is like that's been replaced with Amazon now.
Yeah.
And so like now all these little kids are like, instead of like getting excited to go to the mall and hang out and do stuff or go see Santa, I tried to take my kids to go see Santa this year, but my kids were sick around that time that I was going. So unfortunately I couldn't take them. But like, as a kid, you always look forward to going and seeing Santa.
Yeah.
At the mall or even upwards to, I think I was like 15 the last time I went.
I liked going to Santa even when I started to think that maybe I knew he wasn't the Santa, right?
Just like one of his representatives.
But that's what
basically.
My parents told me. They said, well, he's one of the people because there's no way for Santa to communicate with everybody. And what I realized this holiday, I had a new Santa epiphany, even at my advanced age. And it was that Santa really does exist. Now, even without getting into any religious connotations, because religion is man-made, but I would say a spiritual connection is different because those are maybe your actual relationship with with God. But, you know, this idea of Santa Claus is the idea of giving. And it's the idea of maybe even be more specific, giving some kind of a joy with a present. So to me, that is still just as real as it was when I was little. It's just that this year, because I got, you know, this was the first year that we didn't have my mom for Christmas. And so it's true that, you know, there are more important things in life and that gifts don't take the place of more important things that humans are supposed to be experiencing, I think. But I do love the joy that getting somebody something, a surprise or something that I know they'll like, brings. And I just watched the experience of Santa be a little different. And it has been like this for years, but this year it was especially poignant because I was able to really hone in on the things that I knew each of my family members wanted, and I got this for them. And that was my Santa. You know, it was giving and not getting. And that Santa is real, you know. In that
the Santa spirit, dude.
That's it.
There's the Holy Spirit and the Santa
There it
spirit.
is, yeah. That's it. And so it was very cool, and I really nailed it out of the park, which felt good. I really, man, everybody was so excited, and so that was a very cool feeling. There's Stranger Things is obviously huge. I don't know if you watch that.
I've watched like the first season, but my daughter's like hugely into it. Like on I guess one of the last episodes came out on Christmas Day, and she's like, okay, we can go to grandma's house, but we have to be done by this time because I have to be home to watch Stranger Things. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine because we were going to be done by that time anyway. Okay. So, you know, but she's like hugely into that. So I know any gift I get her that's Stranger Things related is she's going to love. Yeah. So,
there was some t-shirt and there's some things because they obviously have a lot of 80s references in the show. Obvious because I think everybody knows this. And I think the 80s have really garnered a lot of attention and are in vogue still with people. So I got my sister like a Stephen King Rules shirt on it. I think this is a shirt that was worn in a show or in a movie, but she liked these things, so I got her some of these shirts and it just blew her mind. But I actually started doing my restroom upstairs in 80s paraphernalia. I just thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and redo my restroom now.
So you can look at Don Johnson while you take a pee, dude.
I have
that's every man's dream, I guess. You know,
we'll edit that out. I've got some Miami Vice paraphernalia. I got like the car, the Ferrari Testarossa, and then the Ferrari Spider. I think it was in the first earlier years. But so I just got some projects I'm working on right now. And the holidays were good though. I went to a lot of the malls, and I also like this idea of when you are going to look for somebody's present. Like it's so much easier on Amazon, and I'm glad we have it. But there was also something magical when you have to go search for this thing, you know, and.
Like a quest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like I waited, unfortunately this year, I've just obviously had a lot going on recently. And so I waited a little.
You get a pass.
Yeah. So I waited a little later, but I think I did a good job on the gifts for the kids. I mean, for me, you know, the older you get, it's weird. Like you kind of touched on before, Christmas becomes, as a kid, it's kind of about getting, you know, and as an adult, it's about giving more than getting. And that transition, you know, it wasn't like this year I'm excited about getting and this year I'm excited about giving. It's kind of like a process. A gradual process that really, I mean, and as an adult, generally speaking, if I want something, I'm usually just going to buy it.
Yeah.
So I'm not like waiting on a gift that I've wanted, you know, because if I want something that bad, I just go get it pretty much.
Like those shoes you got that you showed me a picture of today.
Yeah, the humble brag.
Yeah, tell us about these shoes, man, so people can see.
Well, I used to be really into the athletic shoes, the Jordans and all that stuff, you know, and lately I've really liked boots more than the athletic shoes. So there's this boot company that I found, and they make pretty cool boots, and they make like limited edition boots, I guess, that like just limited edition releases. And so I bought this one pair that.
Damn, you don't want to tell people the name because then you're afraid they'll get them too.
Yeah, I'm gatekeeping. Actually, I think I got the last pair in my size.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's how rare they are. They're like one pair left, and I'm like, I gotta get them.
I think they do that a lot. It seems like one left.
Left, and then we found another in the back of the warehouse. Oh, here we go.
I've noticed when I put stuff in my cart though, it says like 2 left or 3 left, and I'm like, oh, snap.
Yeah, it's a marketing ploy. But So I bought those shoes, and the really cool thing, they're like leather boots, but they are almost in the style of like a basketball shoe, but they're all leather, and they're from a boot company, and they have like a Vibram sole on it, like a white sole.
Oh, okay.
And but they're limited edition, and like the leather on the shoes comes from like 5 different tannery. Like a tannery is a place that processes leather, basically.
Okay.
For textiles and stuff like that. So the leather on the shoes came from like 4 or 5 different tanneries around the world, like one in Japan, one in Europe, one in America somewhere, and one maybe 2 in Europe, I want to say. But like,
excuse
so
us.
so they're cool shoes because there's like literally it was sourced from like 5 different tanneries. So I thought that, and the leather all looks a little different, you know. So I thought that was cool, and it was kind of unique. So I've gotten over the buying shoes that I was obsessed with.
You still
for
have
a long
them
time.
in storage, you right?
I have a lot of shoes, and that's one of the last things. I'm in the process of selling my house right now, so that's one of the last things that is going to end up going because there's a lot, and they're all going to have to go in like storage bins and stuff. So that alone is like a task. But I'm going to end up probably selling most of my shoes. But that's a process.
Yeah.
Like, so, but yeah, but I just saw these and I'm like, man, those are just cool. Like those are just cool boots. And with all the crap I've been through lately, I'm just like,
Treated yourself.
I want to treat myself here a
That's
little
okay.
bit, you know?
I treated myself to something, and I was feeling a little guilty.
I can tell
about
by
it.
your room. You've treated yourself quite a bit, sir.
I know. Well, this was not Star Wars related. I got a watch, and I didn't need it, and it's not like it's ridiculous how much they found ways to charge some of the prices they do for watches. So I got up near some of those prices, and I just got myself one of these watches that, well, it's solar.
One of those Rolex. It's not.
It's a Seiko, but it has a solar charging mechanism. It's a chronograph, but it has uses radio frequency to connect for the time, so that when you set it to however many hours you are from UTC, the watch will automatically sync to that, and the dials will spin to sync in so it has a date counter and the time and all that.
So it's not a digital?
No, it's not digital. That would be ridiculous.
It doesn't
nice
have a
Casio.
It doesn't have a calculator on it.
No. Anyway, I got that, and that was felt a little bad at
Did
first.
you let Beauty know that you made that purchase?
She's cool with
You
it.
just told her, hey, you're gonna probably have to pick up an extra shift. I'm just letting you know.
May not be able to eat for a few days.
Yeah, but you gotta sacrifice if you want to.
We never go beyond our means. I just, it's kind of one of those things you treat yourself. And I've gone a little extravagant with some of the paraphernalia I'm getting from my 80s restroom.
Where do you get that stuff from?
I found a lot of cool stuff on eBay, Etsy, some retro stuff.
Is it like authentic or whatever? But it's just it's like replica stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Some people, for instance, I found I can't remember the name of the artist. There's a famous painting. And this guy they're artists. So this particular artist did he did one original, and then he made some prints, but it's his own original design of a redo of a famous painting. But instead of the characters that are in the painting, who are nobodies, they're at like a bar or a coffee place, and you're looking at them through a window across the street, and he replaced the characters with characters from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So, Sloane, Cameron, Ferris, and then even Mr. Rooney is in the cafe. And then on the side is the Ferrari Spider. So he's changed out some major things in the painting that's a classic real painting and put in these things. And it's very good. I mean, it looks awesome.
Nice.
So just things like that, I like.
Yeah, I have a few kind of like that too. They're like Kill Bill themed.
Oh, okay. I like
or
that.
Like this guy like picked all the villains in like mob movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy from like Al Pacino from Scarface and Robert De Niro from Goodfellas and like James Gandolfini from Sopranos, and just put all those guys at like a poker game or something like that, and it's artwork. So That's kind of cool. That's like man cave
Yeah.
material, basically, right?
Yeah, I got stuff from various like I put something in there from the Neverending Story or some Kill Bill. We just recently rewatched that, volume 1 and 2, and it's really stands up. I mean, it's good. It's not that old, but
Right.
I know Quentin Tarantino had that similar opening and some of the same types of things he did in a bunch of his movies, like if you saw Inglourious Bastards. But in Kill Bill, to me, it's so good. Like, it's the best.
Well, and that's the thing with Tarantino movies, I think, is like a lot of times those movies you watch, you enjoy them maybe the second or third time you watch them.
Yeah.
Because the first time you watch them, you're kind of like, what is going on? And the second or third time, you kind of know what's going on, and you just get the movie a little bit better.
Well, and somehow I like that he does it silly, but there's still some believability to that Beatrice Kiddo could get out of that grave. You know, I don't want to ruin it for anybody.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert! But it's a movie that came out like 10 years ago. So if you haven't seen it, the statute of limitations is over on the spoiler alerts.
And interesting on that movie is
Bruce Willis was dead, by the way.
They released it when they released it in Japan, I think, or with some Asian country. They were able to have the entire fight scene in the bar, where she's wearing that yellow suit. They were able to do that in color, but in the United States it had to be black and white because it was going to get a different rating because it was so violent, and they thought that the black and white toned it down because of all the blood. So in the United States it's a black and white version, but in Asian countries you get to see all the.
Dude, you do a deep dive. Man.
I did.
How
I got
did you?
Some info.
Were you on Google?
I can't remember if it was in the special features or where we watched that, but yeah, that was kind of a thing we watched. It's cool to rewatch some of those movies. That was a good one though.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Yeah.
A
surprisingly good movie. Like, I think we brought this up maybe before. Like, it's been a while since I've seen a movie. Like, it seems like the movies from even 10 years ago, like Kill Bill and some of these other movies, it's like, man, I would watch that again, you know? And a lot of the recent movies is like, it's okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch them again.
Wouldn't watch them again necessarily. One surprising one that I saw recently was the new Anaconda movie.
Oh, I thought that
one was pretty funny.
I saw a lot of publicity that, Jack Black and
Paul
Rudd were doing, and they are funny.
Oh, yeah.
I like them.
Yeah, like most of what they're in, like they're probably so big in Hollywood now that if like a crap script comes across their desk, they're just gonna be like, this sucks.
Yeah, they're not auditioning for anything.
So that like if they're gonna be in something, it's probably gonna be pretty decent. So.
Yeah, and that was good, huh?
Yeah, it exceeded my expectations, man.
Yeah, just the story I thought was weak, but then I thought, well, but I liked watching him in these press things, so I thought, well, it might be good.
I mean, this has kind of turned into a Siskel and Ebert episode,
only a little more sophisticated.
Reviews. Yeah,
well, with just a tinge more. Did we explain what red is today, or did we just start talking?
I think we just kind of glossed over that.
Yeah, for all people know, he could be dead somewhere.
Right. I mean, he's still alive. He's still amongst the living.
Yeah, he is on a work assignment, and unfortunately, we just couldn't. He couldn't be with us. Yeah. But it doesn't mean he's dead.
I mean, where he's at, it's a few hours from here, and we're recording on a Sunday afternoon right now, and I'm pretty sure he's probably not working right now. So he's probably just at Applebee's, living it up. Yeah. Shall we say? Maybe doing karaoke. Who knows?
Probably not. I've heard him.
You've heard him
talk
sing before?
And maybe sing a couple lines, and it wouldn't be good for anybody.
But we're like, he could just maybe in the hotel room, phone in.
We should have reached out. We should have reached out to him, but our technological advancements have gone very slowly, and we have hinted at this several times, and we apologize if it sounds like we're being posers, but the truth is we do have plans to put this on video. And so at some point, just because I think, I mean, that's what all podcasts do. So.
I mean, Pierce and I have a face for radio more.
Yeah. Well, thanks for lumping me in. Usually when people, are self-deprecating, there's the word self in there.
Yeah, they just include them. So I kind of decided to
group
bring us all into
deprecating.
this.
Yeah, it's not called group deprecating. I mean,
But yeah, it would be nice to get on video and maybe have a YouTube
yeah,
version of this.
because
on
we have a
video.
YouTube channel, but we don't put a lot of video on there because we haven't had time to put material out. You know, if you like, we've put a few things out on Instagram and stuff, but when you ever go on Instagram and you see the videos on there, I think people really spent some time, like the production and directorial investment on some of those things.
Yeah.
It could be time consuming.
So we're looking to hire a multimedia savant.
Yeah,
here.
if we had help, this would all be easier. We don't have help, and we just don't have the time. We live very busy lives. You know,
We're all still working right now.
yeah,
so
we're kind of we have to travel and do other things, so it gets difficult to commit. You know, but we do like sharing things that we think bring people a laugh, and so because that's the idea of how we got started. So it's hard if we don't even have time to do that. It seems like we're robbing people of.
yeah, it got started with us going to lunch and making each other laugh. I don't know. And we're like, are we funny? Would anybody else laugh at this? So this was kind of an experiment.
Right.
Basically.
And I don't know what the answer is still.
I don't.
I still don't know.
I mean, are we getting sympathy laughs at least, maybe?
Yeah, or pity laughs. You know, that's probably what's happening. But yeah, I think that if people hang in there, they're going to see some magic unfold that is is about as close as you can get to the lunches that we
Dude,
had.
yeah. You're kind of writing a big check here, dude.
I don't mean to hype it, but you know, one of the things is as we get more time, we need to figure out what kind of cameras. I've heard that there's some cameras that actually follow you, your face, so that we could have a couple, and then they could turn and focus on. And maybe we could have one set up for each person's face. Things like that. So this is some things we need to.
I thought we were gonna have a camera guy in here, like on the news. You know, they kind of.
I would like
wheel around on one
I
of
would
those
like
things.
to see camera movement. Like I wonder if that would be annoying just to have. But I'm sure that there's smarter ways to do it, and we probably won't use those ways. We'll use the dumber ways.
Right. Yeah. That's how you learn eventually.
That's the Heroes of Humility way, is the dumber ways. But this has been a nice, reintroduction into the studio for us to say, hey, people, we're still here. We're still recording. I thought that even though I'm kind of springing this on you at the last minute, maybe we could do you want to do a scam that you've noticed, that people that are doing scams, or should we do what would you do?
We could do a scam. We could do a scam alert. I got one recently that I can talk about.
Okay, well, here's our intro for the scam. Because we see scams around in the world, and we like to try to identify them for people. We think maybe it's even a public service. You know, we might be helping people.
Yeah.
By looking out for scams. Well, you go first then.
Okay. Wow, you really put me on it right now.
Yeah, you said you had it though, so I gotta think.
So as I said before, I'm in the process of selling my house, and I've had to hire some contractors to come over and do some work, you know. And what I've seen sometimes, and I get that there's some variations in this, right? But you know, you go, for like some of the bigger jobs, you have to go and get bids or estimates on the work, right? Like you want to get at least maybe 2 or 3 estimates to try to get the best price possible.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially if you don't really know what the job costs.
Right. I mean, luckily I would consider myself a little versed in the DIY realm.
Oh, okay.
So I can do a lot of different things, probably nothing to like crafts, you know, artisan grade or something, but I'm familiar with a lot of different ways to do things around a house, I guess. So, but I just so busy, got so much going on. The time is what's difficult for me right now.
Well,
so
we'll edit all that part out.
Yeah, because I'm taking a lot of time right there.
It's
kind of ironic.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, buddy.
I don't have the time, and then I'm taking a lot of time here. So I hired this guy to do a job at my house, and I got a price when I hired him, and the guy comes over, and he starts the work and everything. First of all, he came over to do the bid, right? He saw the job, basically, that I wanted to hire him for. So he gave me a price. And then about a day into it, he, tripled the price. and was like, there's a lot more work than I thought it was. It's going to be triple the price.
And this is after you had
And
told
this is
him you were
after
going
I had
with him?
Yeah. And he had already done like a day's worth of work.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, dude, are you
Come
freaking
on.
serious,
Yeah,
bro?
that's not
You know?
professional, man.
And then at the end of the day, like I paid him enough that it was like a day and a half worth of work, and the cost of the materials wasn't that high, and the rest was labor, and I paid him $1,000 for a day and a half worth of work. And I did the numbers, and I'm like, I paid this guy over $100 an hour. And I was like, I was so upset after that because I felt like I kind of got scammed. But what do you do in that situation when it's like, I mean, what do you say? Nah, I'm not going to do it. And this guy's already over there, and this guy's already done half the job to begin with. Mm-hmm. And then, because I think they kind of know that, like, I got this guy.
Yeah.
He's not going to want to hire somebody else out or something at this point.
And you'd hate the thought that they might also be taking advantage of any kind of the desperate nature of your situation, because you could see that the house needs to get done. This is a timely issue.
And I told him, like, dude, I'm just trying to do this as cheap as I can because I'm trying to make it look good and everything, but I'm not going to go crazy. Like, we're not going to get like crazy materials here, dude. I just want it to look good, look nice, and get it on the market to sell it, basically. So let's just do, a cheap, good job on this, basically.
You wonder if people come away when they get paid what they want, but they have any kind of remorse or guilt later, because it would seem like if you have any decency, you'd feel bad. Wouldn't you rather feel good about doing a job where you've given something that's commensurate to what you got? And I don't know how people sleep with themselves.
Well, just crunching the numbers on the figures, I'm like, dude, like, who makes $100+ an hour as like a handyman?
Yeah,
that's crazy, you know. And then the guy had like the audacity at the end to be like, hey, can you write me a good review? Or here's where I got my reviews. Do you mind writing me a review? And I almost wanted to tell, bro, you don't want me writing a review, bro.
Yeah,
like,
because I have to mention the way you up the price on me.
Right. Yeah, like I couldn't write a review and lie about that to other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to write a review, you have a duty to be honest.
Man, the reviews are. I hate all the emails and everything.
Dude.
Everybody needs. It's not enough that you've paid them. Now you've got to go on and write.
Leave a glowing review on top of that.
That's a good comment. You almost could have said, you probably shouldn't have me write one because I'd have to discuss how you change the price.
Right. But now you've created a combative situation, potentially, right? Now it's like, and so, but I'm just like, you know what, man? I'm just done with it. So here you go. Just like move on, Now, the other company that I hired, they gave me a price. They actually had to do a little bit more work because they did painting and drywall. And after they left, I accidentally put another hole in the wall after they patched the one from before, because I opened the door and the door like slammed into the wall basically, and it knocked a hole in there. So they had to patch it again.
Okay.
And they didn't up the cost to do that.
Cool.
And they did a really great job. The guys that were doing it were there for like 14, 15 hours doing the work. And so they deserved a good review. And I even told the owner afterwards, I said, man, I'm happy with the job. I said, I'll write you guys a great review. And I went on the app that I hired him off of, and I wrote a great review. That's
awesome. And they got to feel good. They got paid, and they
hopefully got some more business.
Yeah, and they gave back what they got.
Right.
It's a cool trade.
They didn't up the price.
Yeah.
They didn't. I hired them. They started the work within days, and they finished it within 4 or 5 days. And it's a big house that I'm in, and so humble brag.
It is. It's huge. I want to say something about this real quick. I don't mean to interrupt your train of thought, but there is a reckoning for everything. I don't care if you think that there is a contradiction between what science says exists as a higher power or not. There is a reckoning for all of us. There is an equilibrium in the world. And when you put out that kind of negativity and you take advantage of people, it will come back to you.
Well, and if you're a Christian or somebody of faith, you know that God sees all. You can lie to me, you can lie to other people, but God sees what's true and what's in your heart. And you have to realize that, like, there is going to be that reckoning for your behavior. You may get away with it in the mortal world that we live in, but God sees everything you're doing.
Well, and sometimes I think, and I don't necessarily have, faith is not a hard science. It's something that you believe based on some experiences you've had and the relationship you have, I think, with people, the people who first teach you about this idea of righteousness or virtue and where it comes from. It's just not all purely scientific.
Well, it's a relationship you have with the Holy Spirit, basically, too, right?
And anything that you have that's happening, there is an equilibrium to things. When you hurt people, it's going to come back to you. And I believe it does happen in ways that we as observers may not be familiar with when you were to watch somebody, but it will come back to them. And
you're saying like karma, basically.
Well, not karma. I don't need to put a definition on it, or we don't have to find it in a dictionary or label it with any particular religious semantic. I'm just saying when you do things in this world that are wrong, there is a reckoning. And I think that you should be grateful if the reckoning happens before you get out of this world. But I just think that's a shame that happened. But I was going to tell you here. Here's my scam. All right,
let's go.
When I took my watch to get adjusted, when you buy it through this vendor, you can bring it back into their. It's a huge conglomerate. So when you bring it back to the mall, they will go ahead and adjust it for you. So I did that, and you get that free of charge. You just show that you bought it through them, and then they do that. Well, when I went in, the gal was helping somebody else, and then it was my turn, and I walked up and I explained what I needed, and I showed her the order, and she said, do you mind if I return it? And I just looked at her like, what do you mean? But I didn't say that. I just gave a lot of silence so she could see that I was stupefied. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, that's way if I return it and then I sell it back to you, I'll get credit for it and it'll go on my sales. Ooh. And that way I get something back for helping you. So now I'm kind of thinking, well, I want her to do a good job. I don't know what harm this could be, but I don't necessarily see.
It's not honest.
It doesn't seem like the right, but I thought, well, okay. I mean, okay, whatever. So she goes in there and she starts doing all this. And she said, go ahead and swipe your card. And so she said, well, what was it that you paid again? And so I'm telling her, I'm showing her my order. So she puts this in and she was able to pull it up and she verified. She says, was it this amount? And I said, yeah, that's it. So she saw it in the computer. And then she rings it up. And then, she said, did you maybe use a different card? And I said, maybe I did. And I go to look at my order and I actually used a different online paying service. So she wasn't able to refund it. And she says, well, actually, if I did it, they'd have to send you a check. So I won't make you go through that. Never mind. It's okay. And she was so deflated. And I was like, this just took like 5 to 7 minutes. Can you just fix my watch? And I didn't say that, but I was thinking that. So she acted bad. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, we're looking at some other things. If we see something, we'll come back and we'll ask for you and you can get credit for other purchases. There's clothes and everything else in there. Mm-hmm. So because I was trying to keep a good relationship with her because she's going to be handling my very, this watch was, again, I just told you I spent too much on it. Mm-hmm. So I wanted her to take good care of it and I didn't want to have any weirdness with her. So she's working on it and she did a good job and we got it fitted to my wrist and everything. But the whole thing was just, she's a scammer, it's a scam. And I just thought, when we said we were going to do this, it just occurred to me and I thought I'm going to tell people so that had I went back and played this out, I would have said no, right. I don't want to return the watch with you.
Yeah, because that puts you in an awkward position socially to now have to say no.
She puts you in an awkward position, right? Yeah,
right. But in your heart, you feel like, no, I don't want to do this. Like, I really don't. First of all, me personally, I'd be like, I don't feel like that's honest.
It doesn't feel honest.
And
yeah.
second of all, that's kind of just, I'm not coming here to deal with all this extra stuff.
Right.
You know?
And
like,
when I bought it online. So it's not like anybody got credit.
mm-hmm.
So I kind of felt like, okay, well, what's the harm? But then I got to thinking about it, and I got to your point, thinking about how she had the gumption to kind of put me in this awkward conundrum.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that's a weird thing for people. When you see that people are willing to put other people in discomfort for something, that should be a sign to you.
Do you think she was aware that she was doing that? That she was putting you in that?
Yeah, I think so.
She
because
thinks she knew that?
She tried to explain it after I said, and I wasn't asking for this any instrumental reason related to this task that now we had to go through together. I asked her purely because I was wondering, because I was concerned about how well she could do the job. I said, "Is this a difficult watch to work with? Is this one challenging?" And she says, "Oh yes, that's why I wanted to see if I could get some credit, because it does take a while." It didn't take her that long. It didn't look like it was that difficult to me. And she was pleasant otherwise, but the fact that she was willing and just to ask me such a weird question, I thought, what else is she doing that's weird?
But see, I think I've seen that a lot in my life where, people aren't necessarily being dishonest per se, but they're really kind of gaming the system. It's like, oh, maybe I can get an extra trip here, or maybe I can do this, and I don't really need to go, but maybe I can kind of go, or maybe I can do this or that. And it's like, are you doing this because you really need to, or are you just trying to get a little something free,
Yeah, and since I was a kid, and my mom ingrained in me at such an early age that she really didn't leave a lot of gray area, and it made it easier. And I've kind of kept that in my mindset because it was established so early on in my mind. Is there really is a right and wrong in a lot of times, and if you keep things simple, they don't get complicated like that, and you'll find yourself avoiding problems.
Well, I mean, we all call that a gut feeling or your conscience, where like there's just that little voice that kind of makes you feel a little uneasy on a situation.
Yeah.
Again, as a Christian, I think that's the way that God speaks to us in a lot of ways, is that that what you're doing, it's not making you feel good,
Yeah.
Like God is not, generally speaking, God is not going to talk to you and be audible, but that's the voice, that's the communication that we have, I think.
Well, it's because free will. We're not supposed to be forced. You're supposed to. That's a decision everybody makes for themselves,
right?
And so when you are making that decision, if it's not coming from a free place, then that's not what you have. You don't really have love without freedom.
Well, yeah, you have freedom to make a bad choice.
Yeah, and if you freely love someone, and it's that's the only way to love. I mean, so
of course you don't. If you're with a wife or a girlfriend or anybody, what is a relationship where you're controlling the other person to be there? You want them to want to be there.
Well, you've mentioned God a few times, so that's my. Since I was little, that was just a part of my understanding of my relationship with God. Is not it's. In order for it to be free, it has to be free. If you are doing things because you're getting something back or because it's forced on you, aren't going. It has to be a free choice.
Well, and that inner morality is within us all. I don't care if you're the person that, you denounce religion and all that stuff. You still have an inner moral compass that makes you feel bad about certain things.
Yeah, and they've found that when they've done studies of kids, even very, very early on, in very early ages, everybody has like a gut sensation feeling, and that's what we're talking about. I mean, I think that's just something that you have.
Like if one of your little school-age friends says, "Hey, let's ditch. We can get out of here." Like your visceral reaction to that is, that's not a good thing to do, Yeah,
and having a fear about doing something wrong and then not doing that thing because you're afraid and it doesn't feel right, that's a good thing. That, and people liken that to like, oh, well, you shouldn't feel guilty, or there shouldn't be this guilt, or you know, what do you mean all people do bad things? Well, the idea is that at some point every day you're going to be tempted to do something that is in this area of gray that we're talking about. And that's kind of, to me, what, you know, what the heart of the matter is.
Well, that's the pressures of the world. Like that lady, I'm sure, had external pressures that was forcing her to put you in that situation. And she doesn't want to make you feel uncomfortable, but there's a financial incentive.
And she's willing to do it, though.
But yeah,
eventually she was willing to, and what made her willing to do that, you know,
is financial incentive or something like
who
that.
knows,
These are the
yeah.
temptations of the world that
Yeah.
makes us ignore that voice.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, I think that we've covered some good stuff today, because we got in a welcome back to our audience. We apologize. I don't know that we need that. I just like to be able to put something out, and if we're making people feel good or laugh, then that's cool. And then we'll try to do it again soon. Red is going to be back hopefully by the next one, and you know, Beige is still getting better. He's healing, but he's come a long ways since he was going through those kidney issues, and I've managed to maintain some virtue still, even though I bought myself a new watch I didn't need. So I apologize, but yeah, sometimes it's probably okay, but just don't overdo it. And do you have any other words of wisdom we should squeeze in?
No, I think I've tapped all the wisdom I have in my brain, dude.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that.
I mean, I think
you're right.
There was a lot there.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
I was trying to say it wasn't that much, but
so the wisdom meter, it's kind of on empty right now, but yeah.
Feel free to write in or check us out on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. If you have a topic or something you'd like us to discuss, go ahead and reach out, and we appreciate you being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and
yeah, there might be things in your guys' life that you guys experience that we're not experiencing that would make a good topic, basically, for the show to talk about.
And we try to be open. You know, I don't know if it sounds like we're closed-minded, but we're open-minded, and our goal is mainly just to laugh about stuff. So we hope you had a couple here on this episode. Take care, be cool, and be kind. This is Pierce signing off with
Beige.
Later.
Bye.
To our listeners out there, thanks for staying with us. We will be back again as soon as possible with Red. He'll be back in the studio. As a treat, here's some footage, B-roll, of Beige and I hurting each other's feelings. We were still recording at the end of this episode. Take care. Nice. That's a good one, because it's just over an hour.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then you're going to cut out about half of what I said, so that'll bring it down to...
If you don't hear
that'll bring
yourself
it down
talk
to
at all in this one,
that'll bring it down to 58 minutes.
Yeah. You bet. If you don't hear your voice at all, don't...
That'll be a great...